Hey there, thanks for joining me. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. I'm Marina Orms, the founder of Astrology Heals at astrologyheals.com. And today we are talking about how you can use astrology to create a world that is safe, kind, and caring for all beings. And so we're looking at astrology as a holistic a tool for healing and a tool for being better people and being able to be more effective in bringing about change in the world. And really, we're ushering in a new paradigm, right? So we have these choices before us about really what's going on in the world and whether we want to align with proactive, courageous changes that do bring about caring in the world, or whether we want to give up, let the world change in ways that are not so good, and let the old guard, the status quo, some of the ways that things have been that are no longer serving us, that in fact are causing tremendous harm, and letting those go and get out of the way in the spirit of creating new, inspiring, innovative solutions that can create a more sustainable and caring world. So, how we can use astrology to do that. And it's a perfect topic for today because the moon is in Cancer. This is your astro vibe for Sunday, September 18th. So the moon is in Cancer, and perfect time to be thinking about themes of caring and kindness. Cancer is a sign of caring, of healing, of nurturing, of mothering. And sometimes mothers are fierce, right? Sometimes that mother energy can be so protective and be a strong advocate for the needy, the vulnerable, those who don't have the same opportunities or privileges as others. And so they play this really important role, mothers, and the mother that is in all of us, the mother energy in the world plays this really important role in reestablishing a world where all beings are worthy, are cared for, are treated with kindness and respect. And we are all able to step into our higher potential when we think about the world that way, because when we're in that mode of, just looking out for myself, I don't care what happens to you, I just want to cover my back, or my greed, or whatever it is, then of course we are not being in that place of healing and wholeness, because we might get what we want, but is it really serving our healing? Is it really serving who we can potentially be, and how we can step into not just our wholeness, but really what makes us wonderful, creative, loving people with ideas, with creativity, and all of that has to rest on a foundation of safety. So when we don't have safety, we go to those things of stress, of needing to get our needs met through ways that are not holistic, that do not see our inclusiveness in the world, and the ways that we are interconnected, and how when we share and offer kindness, and in the spirit of community and helping one another out, then it's good for everyone. It's good for us. It makes our hearts bigger. It makes us have more of a feeling of belonging, or more of a foundation of safety, because we know that when we're the ones who are more needy or vulnerable, that there will be someone there to help us out. And so Moon is in Cancer, helping us think about what makes us feel safe, how we need to be caring toward one another. And the energy of what astrology does for us is it helps us see how the opportunities that are presented that we have in front of us, how we can work with those to step more fully into that world where we have more healing, where we're more sustainable and healthy because we have that interconnectedness. So one of the things that is going on right now, and I've been posting a lot and talking to you a lot about some of the astrological energies that are up. Recent videos. Last week, I did a recap of some important themes that are going on with Mars and Gemini, a Virgo moon cycle, and Mercury retrograde. But today, I wanted to just remind us of some of the work that we're all doing and what it looks like right now and how we can support ourselves to continue to step into this healing and be part of the change, part of the new paradigm where all beings are cared for. So we have right now 5 outer planets are retrograde. Mercury is retrograde, of course. Also Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all retrograde. So when planets are retrograde, what's happening is they are going backward through the zodiac. They are reviewing some of the energies, the degrees and signs where they've been already. And so for us, and when we understand what's going on, we see that what we're in is a period of review, but also a period in which we're going inward, we're processing, we're redoing some of the energies that we've been through. So it's not new, but it requires a deepening. It requires going into ourselves, looking at our own, our beliefs, our attitudes, our energies, our feelings, the things that need a little reflection, a little attention. And so we're doing some of that inner work. And as we do that inner work, it's helping to create that foundation of what astrology can help us with. So we're creating that foundation that supports feeling safe. We're creating a foundation that supports caring for ourselves, which helps us to be caring people in the world. When we know that we are cared for, then we can have our needs met so that our cup is full, so that we can be caring for others, available with energy, with resources, with attitude that feels full, that feels generous, that feels energized to provide support and help for not just people in the world around us who might be needy, but also the situations and the systems and the structures of the world around us that might need some attention, some new ideas, some new ways of approaching things. And of course, with Mars and Gemini, we're thinking about things differently. And what are the ideas that we need to focus on to support not just ideas, but also the ways that we communicate and talk about things. So retrograde planets outer planets have to do with our deeper spiritual selves. And when the outer planets are retrograde, we're doing some deeper spirit and soul work, and we're processing. So we're going inward. We are becoming aware, having our newer consciousness about some of our patterns, some maybe releasing some old feelings or traumas. And so taking that time right now to give yourself, time to dream, time to journal, time to space out. Those are all examples of how we are doing that inner work, making some of those bigger connections that are creating the bigger shifts inside of us. Because when we're shifting on the inside, we are, again, more functional, we're healthier, we're more whole, we're more energized to contribute to making a difference in the world, and being the solution, being part of the solutions, and being able to create and be creative and be inspired. So we've got again, several planets retrograde. We're going inward. We're doing that inner work, and astrology brings us these amazing opportunities. So when we know, and that's what astrology does, like, it doesn't create these situations, it just gives us a language for being able to talk about them, being able to wrap our minds around them and understand what's going on. And one of the ways that astrology has been misunderstood, or maybe belittled in oversimplified in some of those ways in the mainstream culture, is that we see astrology as something that's either good or bad. Either these signs are compatible or they're not, or either you have this set up in your chart and it gives you it's a good thing for your life, or this thing is a bad thing in your chart and you're just stuck with it. And the kind of astrology that I do, evolutionary astrology, transformational astrology, recognizes that every astrological configuration that we have is actually something that gives us an invitation, an opportunity. It's an invitation for healing and change. It's just a particular kind of healing and change that we're being invited to step into. And so you start to see the qualities that we can see in astrology, instead of, I like it when the moon is in Cancer and I don't like it when the moon is in Gemini. We can really see more like, okay, when the moon is in Gemini, it means I'm focusing on this, and I'm being invited to step more fully into my problem solving, my communication, the way that I think about things, my ideas and my mental processes. That's what I'm working on. And then when the moon goes into Cancer, I'm working more on healing and feeling safe and taking care of myself, and what are my needs, because that's also important. And then from there, the moon is going to go into Leo. And when the moon goes into Leo, I'm focused more on moving outward and self-expression and shining my light. So each thing in astrology, each position of the planets that we have at any given time is an invitation. And in the bigger picture, that's what's going on in the world, is that we have this invitation to work on a particular piece. And what we see coming up in the collective, what we see in the headlines, what we see of the news, what we see unfolding in our lives and in the world around us, is we see these opportunities to get better, to improve ourselves, to do whatever work is asked of us in that area. And so as we see, for example, we see collapse happening in the world, we see some systems falling apart. That is an invitation. Pluto in Capricorn, that is an invitation for us to create new systems, for us to ask ourselves, okay, what would it look like if we had a system that really worked for us? If we had a government that really worked for us? If we had a system of laws and a system, a financial system, an educational system, a system of family structures that really worked for us? What would that look like? And each of us is going to feel called to make a contribution or do work in, in whatever areas are right for us. But in the collective, we've got this energy with Pluto in Capricorn of breakdown, transformation, profound shifts and changes, like a volcano destroying the landscape and creating a new one. So that's the kind of energy we're dealing with, and we have this opportunity to shape the new structures that are being formed, to have our voices heard in how we want that to look. We have an opportunity to make the foundations stronger, right? I've talked about the roots of the tree and how the deeper the roots of the tree, the more it can withstand storms. And when that tree or whatever structure we're looking at gets old, when it's been around for a really long time, it needs some shoring up. Perhaps it needs to be raised and rebuilt in a new way, better, stronger, right? But maybe we need to take an existing structure and shore it up, bolster it with some, modern input, some feedback about what we need now based on who we've become. Those are all important as we go through this time period with Pluto and Capricorn, which we've got another year and a little bit on that. So Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008. That was the beginning of the bottom up transformation of systems and structures. And we've been going through since then. And then that time period of Pluto in Capricorn is going to shift next year. As Pluto goes into Aquarius, we're going to be doing different work. When Pluto goes into Aquarius, we're going to be working more on transformation in ideas, innovation, the way we think about the future, the way we structure our communities, the ways that we think about things and solve problems, have this potential to be coming from a higher place. We also have, just like with Pluto and Capricorn, it's not always fun. We have the lower vibration to look at. And so when Pluto's in Aquarius, the lower vibration could be potentially rebellion for the sake of rebellion, or breakdown without a clear plan for how to move forward. So this time period when Pluto is in Capricorn, we've got this amazing opportunity to get clear about what we want to create and the foundations. So now, of course, I'm talking about what that looks like in the big picture for the collective, but it's going to show up for you in your life in terms of what is your foundation? What are the systems and structures under which you operate? How do you structure your approach to the world, your beliefs, your understanding of what reality is? Because as you take a look at that, as you consider restructuring, redoing, transforming, revamping some of the ways that you think about the world and reality and the way you organize your life and your approach to life. As you do that, you're contributing to this bigger collective transformation. So the inner work is foundational and essential to the collective work that we are all doing and the ways that we are evolving as a bigger unit globally and for humanity. It absolutely comes down to the microcosm of you and your life, and the effort, the love, the energy that you put into transforming limitations, seeing yourself in a new light, seeing yourself as strong, as capable, as having a backbone and an ability and a willingness to act from your strength and to move in the world from that place of strength where you know who you are, where you feel confident, where you can shine your light, where you can stand in leadership. All of those things come down to who you are personally, but make a difference in the bigger world. Because when a critical mass, right, when enough of us are doing that, the world itself starts to shift and change in response. And that is the opportunity. So that's how astrology is telling us, if we had a really oversimplified view of astrology, we might say Pluto's in Capricorn, we're just screwed. Everything is just going to fall apart and there's no hope. We might as well give up now. So it's not very empowering. But we can, of course, see astrology as this invitation, as this opportunity. It's like, yeah, hey, some things might fall apart, some things might break down, but why? What is that about? And what is it making possible for us? And how we respond to that, how we step into the potential to overcome our limitations and look at who we want to be and the way we want things to come through as we go through this. And I think that, I notice so much changing as we go through the decades, and we see, things are very different than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, right? So there is a new paradigm emerging, and it has hope. It also has this, cynicism that we can have. And so it's really a choice, and how we choose to embrace and embody and step into these possibilities that astrology is helping us to be able to see and understand. Gives us not just hope, but something to do. And it reminds us of the power of our own individual healing process, which, all of this comes back to who we are as people and how we support ourselves, how we take care of ourselves, that Cancer energy, how we view ourselves and how we value ourselves as beings who need care and kindness and time for ourselves and time to heal and time to do some of that inner work and time to not just time, but also that quality of valuing and respecting and caring for ourselves. To say, I'm not going to be useful to myself, my family, the world around me, my workplace, if my needs are not met. If I haven't slept, if I haven't been eating properly, if I haven't had time to process the things that are coming up in my emotions, in my psyche, my soul and spirit needs, if I can't attend to those, then I'm not being the best I can be. And that means I'm not able to be who the world needs me to be able to share my gifts, my perspective, my creativity, my skills, my wisdom, my experience. And so that's all super important. And we, of course, have not only Pluto in Capricorn, which is retrograde. So we're going back through that time of review with reviewing the systems, the structures, what is the foundation that we're standing on, what is holding us up, how can we bolster that, how can we put love and caring and kindness into the things that support us, the structures that help keep us together and organized, so we can be effective. Capricorn is not boring, and I'll talk more about that someday. But anyway, so we have also other outer planets. We have Neptune is in Pisces, asking us to think about what is real, what is our connection to the flow of the big picture and the divine, and what truly guides us in that spirit of universal connection and universal love, unconditional love. What is the narrative that we that is guiding us? And what are we hitching our wagons to? Is it something that is an illusion? Is it something that's there to mislead or manipulate us? Or is it something that is truly connected to this bigger heart and spirit energy that can be healing at deep levels and help to open our hearts? That's Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces from 2011 until I want to say 2025. It's coming up 2024, 25 in there somewhere. Neptune will go into Aries, and then we're going to have this bigger shift into an energy of courage and being a warrior and finding out who we are as individuals and how spirit can guide us in our expression of our truth and our individuality as we emerge with life force in the world. That's, of course, a higher vibration. There's also lower vibration of Aries energy, which is battle and being a warrior and being aggressive. So we want to consciously and purposefully and intentionally embody these higher vibrations of possibility, of who we can be and what we can choose. And so again, when Neptune goes into Aries, we'll have that opportunity to be and embody ourselves, who we are, and to find courage to be and move and act in the world on what we believe in, what's important to us. But with the Neptune in Pisces energy, there is that loss of boundaries, the absolute potential to be confused about what reality is, to be manipulated or deluded or losing track, losing our sense of reality, losing touch with reality. That's what I'm trying to say. Losing touch with what grounds us and what is real in a physical sense, that is tangible and makes sense. There's that potential, but there's also, of course, the potential to expand our hearts and our minds into bigger pictures of caring, of interconnectedness, of transcendence, of recognizing how interdependent we really are. And then the planet Uranus is in Taurus. That energy is bringing us that energy of shakeup, of change in our routines, in our sense of stability and what we can count on, and our day-to-day, what's predictable, right? The status quo. And so it's bringing an infusion of new energies, change, inspiration, insight, and asking us to shift and change according to bigger picture ideals, visions for the future, who we can be, and to integrate that into our routines. And then I know I'm having to kind of shorten these, but Uranus and then Saturn being in Aquarius is the planet of structures and systems, being in that sign of change. Aquarius is about the future. It's about new ideas, new visions, new solutions. And so bringing that into our structures. And we've had a square between Saturn and Uranus. And again, those energies of shakeup and change, but also stability and routine and interacting in ways that put pressure on us to to shatter and bring, some of our expectations, some of the things that we thought were always going to be there, always something we could count on, but also at the same time, we have this opportunity to bring new solutions, new levels of thinking, new paradigms, new outside the box thinking that takes us to the future through ideas that we haven't had before because we haven't needed them or we haven't been ready for them. So that energy of Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, kind of working together to push us to become something new and embrace and embody new paradigms. And then finally, the fifth outer planet is Jupiter, and that is the one I'm going from the outside in, right? Jupiter is a planet of expansion and abundance. It's also the planet of beliefs, what we put our faith in, where we, what we believe in, what we trust, what we count on, and it's expanding into Aries. And that Aries, again, is that energy of courage, of being ourselves, of moving, of taking action, being in the world and expanding our ability to act and believing in ourselves. That's a big one. Really believing in ourselves to be able to take action and to believe, to understand this deeper truth that our actions are actually creating the new world, or are actually in the process of creating the world that we want to live in, especially when we do them consciously, when we move in the world intentionally, and when we take that extra time before we take action to get clear about who we are, why we want to move forward, and is this the best way to, am I in my power when I'm doing this? Am I doing something that feels good, that feels right, that feels true for me, that that helps me feel like I've done something important or meaningful or with purpose? So there we are. Those outer planets, all 5 of them are retrograde. That means that we are in a period of looking within at how we're approaching these things, whether we're doing it from the highest, our highest potential, whether there's anything that needs to get in alignment or be looked at or be felt or healed, or energy that needs to move so we can be our best selves and be part of creating a world that's more kind and caring and safe for all beings, and thinking about what that is in our own lives that then can ripple out and translate into actions in the world and ways of being that help to create that world. So this was a deep dive today. Thank you so much for being here with me through to the end with what can I do, because astrology really can help us understand where we are, how our own individual lives and choices can make a difference in the collective, and what's going on. Why are these things happening? And what is the deeper energy pattern that is being reflected in the things that are unfolding? Because when we understand that deeper energy pattern, then we can trust the process and keep doing the work to believe in ourselves, to share and shine and be in the world in ways that help to create the world we want to live in. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe and check me out, astrologyheals.com. I have private consultations and mini readings, and I'd love to work with you. If this work is speaking to you, we can look at your own chart and what's showing up in your life, and how you can be part of creating a world that's more kind and caring and safe for all beings. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.